How to not procrastinate. Best way I found is you create a calendar. So you create a calendar and you put in your calendar the habits that will lead you towards success, right? So you have ideas for what you want to create, amazing. None of that happens until you create into actions, right? It's the actions and the habits that you do every day that lead you towards your dreams. Otherwise, they just remain hopes and dreams. So this would not be happening if it was not in my calendar, right? I had to schedule this in. I want to walk outside for 3 hours a day. Great. Well, when is that going to start? If I did not put it in my calendar, I would not be out here doing this. And so step one is you create a calendar that maps to your ambitions, that are the habits, that if you follow those habits, you'll move closer to your goals, your business goals, your personal goals, your relationship goals, your finance goals. Are you doing the work? Is it in your calendar, right? Step one. And then step two is you teach yourself that you do what's in your calendar. We're eliminating the thought process behind it because procrastination is your brain gets in the way, right? Your brain is telling you, oh, I'll do it later. I can't do it now. I'm not smart enough, or I need to do some research first. Like your brain gets in the way. So the way to shortcut the brain is you create the calendar and then you do what's in your calendar.
Need motivation?
Watch this top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because the thing that saved me as an entrepreneur was watching the stories of other successful entrepreneurs, and I learned from their advice, I learned from their motivation, and honestly, I have no idea where I would be if I didn't have those videos to inspire me. I still need them for myself today too, and I hope that they can inspire you as well. So today, let's learn from me and my team's take on my top 10 rules of success. Enjoy.
So you create the calendar when you're feeling bold and courageous and you come with a new goal. It's like so exciting. Great. Don't just sit in that excitement and don't just go researching. Plop in your calendar how you're going to keep this consistently happening in your life so that you don't just get this momentarily burst of energy and then you fall back down, right? So you put it in your calendar how you're going to sustain this action. How I got this, I was at an event 2 weeks ago and I got this idea that I'm going to start walking outside. And it started off as 2 hours a day. Then last week became 3 hours a day. This week continuing to 3 hours a day. It's great to get an idea. How many times you got an idea at an event or watching a video? You get some great idea. Awesome. If you just do it once, it's not enough. How do you maintain the consistency? How do you turn it into a habit? Don't wait for you to feel motivated. It has to go into your calendar. So I pop this into my calendar. And then when I wake up and I look at my calendar, I do what's in my calendar. So you eliminate the brain from the process and therefore eliminating the procrastination. So you create your calendar when you're feeling bold and courageous and on top of the world and unstoppable. Maybe like right now, you're getting some energy, go put something in your calendar. And then when you wake up, you do what's in your calendar. Do those two things. It'll change your life.
Rule number 2 is learn about marketing.
My question is marketing. Last year, I did an online somatic breath work and I didn't really know how to market. And I only have one person show up. People don't know who I am yet. So you have any tips on how to market in person for live events and online?
So the fastest way, if you want to fill it up, is through partnerships. Unless you got a big ad budget that you're going to start spending, it's partnerships. Whose space are you doing it out of?
The gym I go to.
Can you put flyers up in the gym?
Yeah, I can.
The people who are going to come to your event, they're paying you to come to the workshop.
Yes.
Could the gym help promote it and take a cut?
Yeah, I'm sure I can work with her. Yeah.
If they email it to their list, then they get a commission.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe they don't even need a commission. Maybe they'll just do it for you.
Yeah.
Can you go and be at the front of the gym for the week before and talk to people as they come in and have flyers and share about the workshop that you have coming up? Have an announcement board you can put something up on. It's like, how can we use the location to help promote? Because there's foot traffic coming in every day. There's people coming to the gym every day. How can we help get our message to them and incentivize the gym? Maybe they do it because they just love you. Maybe they do it because you're renting space. Maybe they do it because they're making a cut. All of the instructors, all of the people who are, personal trainers there, getting to know them so that they're saying in the class potentially that you've got this thing coming up. So that's the easiest one. Next, you go to all of the local media, the local newspaper, the local Facebook groups, the local whatever, and get to know the reporters. So you're in Eureka, California?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Like there's some newspaper for Eureka, California. That it's not like you're trying to get into the LA Times. You're trying to get into the Eureka newspaper.
Okay.
It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So what reporter is talking about the events in Eureka right now? Get to know her or him and let them know that you've got, because ideally this is an ongoing thing. It's not just this one event.
Yeah.
A weekly event. Right? So building up those connections help.
Rule number 3 is leave your comfort zone. Self-confidence comes from doing difficult things. Self-confidence, self-love, self-respect, it all comes from deciding to do something difficult. Here's what happens when something hard comes up and you find a reason why you can't do it. It's too hard, it's too difficult, it's too scary. Most people will let you off the hook. The people around you will say, yeah, it's way too hard. I mean, the fact you even thought about it was crazy. You let yourself off the hook, but then you realize, like, I could have done it. You know, like, that's the worst feeling in the world, that you could have done something, but then you came up with an excuse as to why you can't. And that will eat you up. And even if the world lets you off the hook, recognize that they have lower standards than you. Recognize that the people who are giving you that advice and patting you on the back and saying it's okay, you don't need to do it, they don't like their life either. They're stuck. They're trapped. They're not pushing hard. They're not being aggressive for their goals. They're not tough either. And we're reinforcing that comfort loop. Every day, comfort you versus growth you are in a fight. There's a war going on inside you. Comfort you versus growth you. Comfort Evan versus growth Evan. Every day there's a fight, there's a battle, there's a war going on. And you need to decide who's going to win the fight. It's a daily thing. And the more growth you wins against comfort you, the more you start to grow. The more you start to hit your goals. The more you start to have an impact. The more you start to love yourself. Because again, even if the world would let you off the hook, you know it's just an excuse. I think most people think of it as a giant step that you have to take to build that self-confidence. It's not. I think it's much more about the daily battles with yourself that then builds up to major things. Just like you don't go to the gym and lift 400 pounds, you start by lifting 5 pounds or 10 pounds or 20 pounds or 40 pounds, whatever it is. That's how you start to build the muscle. It's much more about the daily building of the muscle to show yourself who you are, much more than the one-off heroic moments. Rule number 4 is tap into your heart.
I think I am much more logic driven when I look at like evaluation. So I have a lot of heart, but I tend to make these type of bigger decisions with logic. So trying to, even though you say follow your heart, it's a little bit challenging for me to make that switch.
It's the only thing that matters though for this. Like this is the ultimate skill to learn for big decisions like this. It doesn't mean like the concern then becomes, well, I would get too emotional and then I just do whatever comes into my head and blah, blah, blah. No, you're never going to be that guy. You're never going to be reckless.
Yeah.
But for imagine if you were getting married, you better love her. As opposed to, well, logically, like it makes sense.
I think it's probably both of those, right?
But it better be a lot more on the love. It needs, no. It better be a lot more on the love than on the logic. You see a lot of the guys who have been married for a while, like, oh my gosh, I hope he gets this, like touching the face.
I'm not married yet, so that's one of the reasons.
Well, but like this is a skill set to start to trust your heart, which you need. You need both. There are some people who only listen to the heart and are like doing all sorts of crazy things and never stay consistent on anything and never listen to the head, never stay focused, that's not you. You're the opposite.
Yeah.
So you need to tap into heart more and it'll make you a more successful business person, human.
How?
Husband.
I know you don't like to focus on that, but how do you tap into the heart? Is like, I guess the last question.
When you feel something come through you, when you get an idea, your next step is when you get an idea, go do something on it.
The 2% rule.
Yeah, the 2% rule, 2% difference, right? So when you get an idea, what you will do is automatically start to plan it and judge it and come up with, Evan's holding up the special Cleveland edition journal.
I got that copy as well.
2019 tour. Let's go. Yeah, that's it. Like when you get an idea, do something on it. And the good news is it's all low risk. Like what's your next idea? But to train yourself that great ideas flow through you and to take some immediate action on it. This is what I did because I'm much more logical and strategic
I was like you, and I had to train myself to do more heart first. Big decisions with your heart. Because if you go into your next career or your next relationship just doing logic first, you're always going to be unhappy. Also, to make sure you're actually taking action after watching this video, I've designed a special free worksheet just for this video. The worksheet will highlight all of the lessons learned in this video, as well as pull out our 3 favorite learnings and quotes that will inspire you to actually do something. The worksheet will also give you space to write down what your key takeaways are and your specific plan of action to make sure you're getting results. If you want the worksheet designed specifically for this video, absolutely for free, there's a link in the description below. Go click on it and start building the momentum in your life and your business. I'll see you there.
Rule number 5 is be curious.
Being good with people has historically been a challenge for me. Being shy, introverted, find it hard to start off conversations. But the thing that actually helped the most was actually just be curious about people. Just find a way to be curious about somebody. Because I think, especially if you're an introvert, we don't like having very surface level conversations. We don't like talking about the weather. We don't like talking about, hey, how about that sports team? You know, it feels fake, and introverts don't like being fake. But we actually love deep conversations. And so the way to do that is to start finding one thing that you can be really curious about the person. If you can genuinely be curious about them, then it's so much easier to have a conversation, and you're asking questions about them, and people love talking about themselves. So the way to be good with somebody is just ask them questions, but not that it's leading to a sales pitch or something, that you just genuinely care about the person, and all of a sudden they're doing most of the talking, and then at the end of it, they're saying, wow, that person, you're such a great conversationalist. I really like talking with you. Really, it was them doing most of the talking and you asking the questions. But it's got to be questions that you genuinely are curious about and care about. I find that really helps me.
Rule number 6 is stay consistent.
Focus on who you are serving instead of who you're not. That one sentence is at the core of how I've been able to stay so consistent, to keep making content, to not give up, to not get too discouraged, and to get back up every single time and keep going. Because I focus on who I am serving instead of who I'm not. I just recently spoke at Brendan Burchard's Influencer Summit, and I shared my graphic of how I've grown over the years on my channel. Every time I show that graph, they always ask me, how did you keep going? In the first 5 years, when you had no subscribers, when you had no comments, how did you keep going? And how did you make so many videos? How did you not burn out? How have you made 12,000 videos over 12 years? How do you keep doing it? And I don't think I'm superhuman. I don't think I'm extra special. I think I had actually more problems than most. I'm shy, I'm introverted, I was afraid of the camera. I felt like only egotistical people put themselves on camera and told their story. I had lots of limiting beliefs and struggles in getting my channel and just belief in myself to put anything out there. I hated my first 350 videos. I couldn't watch anything back. Totally embarrassed by everything I made. And it was 750 videos before I inspired myself, before I finally liked one of my own videos. Like, you know what? I'm starting to get decent at this. That was a good video. 750 videos in before I did that. So how do you keep going? How does that make any sense? Because I always focus on who I was serving instead of who I wasn't. Most of us just focus on who we're not serving. Think about your growth. Think about if you've made any kind of content. You know, at the beginning, you get nothing, right? There's no reaction, there's no comments, and then maybe you get one comment, and then maybe you get 5 comments, or maybe you get 10 likes, or maybe you get however many views on your videos, right? You get 100 views on your video. Now that's kind of the standard. Now if you get 20 views again on a video, ooh, that doesn't feel so good, right? Or if you get 1,000 views on a video, or 10,000 views on a video, or 100,000 views on a video. I remember the first time I got 100,000 views on a video, I was like, wow, I've made it. And then it's easy to feel like, oh, the next video got 10% of that, and you feel like, oh, I suck, it's not working, right? Instead of focusing on that, because that's a losing game, focus on who you are helping and assume that it is serving people. Rule number 7 is help others.
I'm passionate about helping. I want people to learn, man. And I don't think we're getting it in schools. I don't think you're getting entrepreneurship knowledge in textbooks. And I'm passionate about trying to help the entrepreneurs who have the information to get it out there. So I've connected with pretty much everybody, I guess, in the thought leadership entrepreneur space. And I just help them with their channels, and good stuff happened. You know, I mean, even looking at this, I don't know how we got initially connected, but we hopped on a call maybe a month or two ago to look at your YouTube channel. And then you said, hey man, come on my show. Like, I'm down. You know, good things happen when you give. So if you're a business owner, you're an expert at something, your job is to teach people to think like you think. And what I love, you look at Ed Milet or you look at yourself, you guys think differently, right? The way you approach things, you're not your typical boardroom CEO, professional corporate guy, right? And so the questions that you ask are not the normal ones. The way you see the world is not what other people see. And so that's your job as an expert, as a business leader, to share the way that you see the world so others can see the world the same way.
Rule number 8 is find your niche.
Today, we are talking about finding sponsors. A couple ideas here. The first one is be the authority in your industry. And this is how I started getting my first sponsors, is that people knew me as being the entrepreneur guy. First off, just in my city. Like, I'm the entrepreneur guy in Toronto. And for this to happen, it has to be really niche. How do I niche down so that people find me? Because if you're just talking about motivation, you're up against Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins and Eric Thomas and Evan Carmichael and all these big channels. So why would a giant company want to work with you? At least why would they come to you? They wouldn't be your first choice to come to you. So I was thinking about, how can I be the go-to in my specific industry? And one of the biggest things that I found too for helping people get more business from YouTube is going more niche. Like, who specifically do you help, and making content directly geared towards them. This is something that Drew and I have been working on and helping some of his clients. He's helped some clients get 5-6-figure deals from their YouTube channels, and they have 100 subscribers.
What?
Pablo is freaking out. Yeah, because the videos are specific, right? So who do you ideally want to be helping, and making content directly towards them? And so a lot of times the problem is our content is too general, it's too broad.
Yeah.
And you're going up against big people. And so you won't be the one that they find. But some of the stuff that he puts up is relatively obscure and niche. Like, how can a dentist invest in life insurance? Is a pretty specific niche thing. And the goal isn't to have 1 million views on that video, but anybody who's watching that video is going to be an ideal target market for you. And so if I'm a dentist and I'm trying to invest in life insurance and I find that video, there aren't probably too many videos. There's videos talking about how dentists can grow a business or entrepreneurs can grow a business. There's videos talking about life insurance, but not that combination. And in that combination, we start to get people who are our ideal clients. So it's yes, building up. I love the idea of building giant channels, what I love doing, but I also want you to make money along the way. And if you have any kind of client service business or products that you want to sell, making it specific, knowing that we're not trying to get 1 million subscribers yet on these videos, but it can start to pay us. It also attracts the attention of potential sponsors. So the more niche you can get, especially when the channel's small, the more niche you can get, the more people will find you who care about that niche.
Rule number 9 is get excited about the future.
How to get over someone that you love after breakup when it still hurts. So whether it's a breakup in a personal relationship, in a business relationship, you can always think about what you would have done, what you should have done, what you could have done looking backwards, but it very rarely serves you. The easiest way to move past is to start to get excited about the future. When you are excited about your future, you spend zero time thinking about all the things that you did wrong going backwards, right? You did the best you could with what you had. Forgive yourself. If you had to do it all over again, you would probably play it a little bit different now because you're smarter, you're wiser, you have more experience. But you can't go back in time. And sitting, wishing that you could, and all the mistakes that you would have fixed doesn't serve you. So the key is to start getting excited about the future. Get excited about the future. What are you building? What are you creating? What are you moving towards? Not where you have come from and where you struggled and sucked. So if it's a business opportunity, get excited about the new business you're going to make. If it's a relationship, get excited about the next relationship you're going to have, right? Get on the different dating apps and see who's out there. See who's on the market for you right now and get excited. Like, allow yourself to dream again and to wish again and to hope again. Because that thing that you came from was not the one for you anyway. If you're trying to move through some past mistakes, you give yourself credit for doing the best you could with what you had, and then we start getting excited about the future that is still ahead.
And rule number 10, the last one before some very special bonus clips, is dream big. Our ideas are endless. You know, you've got big ideas. I've got big ideas. You want to change the world. Right. And that's great. And it's great. Like, dream big. And okay, then this gets so easy to get lost in our big dreams. And it's like, well, what do I do? We're building the ladder. We're creating the bridge. We're getting in the boat and we're rowing. Like, this is the first step. And what's great is you already have a product or service that you can sell. So it's not like, I don't know what I'm going to sell. I don't know who I can help. I don't know what my skills are. Like, you've already figured that out, which is great. So now we just need to figure out, okay, how many clients you need to get so that you can get that team, those 2 people. And then you'll have so much more momentum. Like, just imagine an EA or a VA taking 20, 30 hours a week of work off your plate. What does that free up for you to do? Right? A lot. Like, maybe you can already afford to hire that person now. And if it's not 20 hours a week, maybe it's 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week, right? That's how we start to scale up. But it's these steps.
So think globally and start local.
That's it.
That's good.
Yeah. Because a lot of people hear that message and say, but I don't want to dream so small.
No.
I'm not asking to dream small. Like, dream big, dream bigger. We're just building the plan to actually get there. Because the thing that's missing between where, and not just you, where like most people are and where they want to be, is they don't have the team and the resources to do it. So let's go get you some more resources so you can get the team to go off and build your even bigger mission.
Get rid of your 10-year goals and create a mission instead. I think a lot of people are so worried about where they're going to be in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years. We do these goal planning exercises. You ever gone through that? You ever gone through a goal planning exercise, goal setting exercise at events? You read a book that says where you're going to be in a year, in 5 years, or 10 years. And the more that I've thought about it, the more that I've gone through the exercises, the more I realized it's not important. It's not helpful. It's not where we want to be, because you don't know what you're capable of in a 5-year period, a 10-year period. Think about who you were 5 years ago. Take today's date and subtract 5 years. Think about that person. Could you have predicted where you are right now? Could the person you were 5 years ago have any degree of confidence to plan a life for who you are right now? There's no way. There's no way. Not if you're growing, not if you're learning, not if you're improving. If you're watching this channel, then you're somebody who is learning and growing and improving. And so you had no idea what you're capable of 5 years ago. And so what makes you think that it's any different now, that you can plan for the next 5 years? Like, the only way that you can create a 10-year plan for yourself is if you are not growing and you're in a really static life. You know, like if you're going to be a lawyer and you're going to work your way up and be a senior partner at the law firm, and that takes a certain amount of time, cool, you could plan that out. That's a pretty boring life. You know, chances are, if you're watching this video, you don't want that life, that you want to create new and build new, and that requires being flexible to jump off of your 10-year goals, right? It's not that it's wrong to have goals. Goals can work, they can be motivating, but your goals right now are a reflection of who you currently are. That's the problem. Whatever goal you set right now is a reflection of who you currently are. And the more that you are growing as a human, and the more that the world evolves and new technology comes out and new opportunities arise, the longer horizon you put out, the less accurate it's going to be. And so instead of worrying about having a 10-year goal, replace it with a mission. The problem of a 10-year goal is you could actually hit your 10-year goal. It's just way small compared to what you're capable of. And so the answer is have a mission. What's your mission? What are you trying to accomplish? Like, what's the big problem that you're trying to solve? and then wake up every day trying to attack that mission as opposed to worrying about where you're going to be in 10 years. This might flip a lot of goal setting on its head. It might flip a lot of what you've been told or taught or thought on its head. And listen, if having that 10-year goal works for you and is actually motivating, cool. Keep with it. Keep going. If it's helping you, use it. But if you feel like there's something more, you feel like 10-year goal is not enough, you don't feel motivated when you look at your 10-year goal from 2 years ago, it doesn't appeal to you anymore, it's probably why. You know, you're growing too quickly. The problem is not your goals. The problem is that you grew too much. The 10-year goal was great for who you were 3 years ago. You're not that person anymore. You've grown too much. That's not a reason to feel bad. That's a reason to feel amazing. You know, you've grown. You've outgrown yourself. You've shed your skin. You're now turning to the next generation of you. And so my answer has been mission. What's the mission? What are you trying to accomplish? You know, so for me, I want to solve the world's biggest problem. Entrepreneurs and, you know, people don't believe in themselves. People don't believe in themselves. And I don't believe in myself enough. You don't believe in yourself enough. Nobody, you know, walking out here believes in themselves enough. We don't believe in ourselves enough. And I want to solve that problem. And I'm never going to solve that problem. And I wake up every day trying to solve that problem. And why it's so helpful to have a mission like that is because it gives you something to fight for every day. And there's always something new that can come out that can help you with that. And there's always opportunities that, I think, guys, the amount of things that I've seen and that has happened in the past 10 years, if you look at 10 years ago, where was I on YouTube? I started in April 2009, so I was early in on my career on YouTube. I had a couple hundred subscribers. There's no way I would have said I'd be here. There's no way, just with the impact I've had, with the people I've met, with even just the confidence to sit here. Guys, I would have been so terrified to sit in a park making a video. Terrified of who's watching me, who's judging me, who's coming around the corner, who's behind there, maybe, you know, looking at me and judging me. You know, it just would have been impossible. So the person I was 10 years ago would have never even thought of this as a possibility. And now it's normal. It's not a problem, right? How quickly that we can grow. And so you come up with a mission. What's the problem you're trying to solve? And then as you develop new skill sets and improve mindsets and better belief systems, and as you know, the market and technology evolves and opportunities arise, as you keep going and building momentum, there will be new things that you can go off and do that you never thought were possible. But it's always in service of the mission. So how do you find the mission? Well, that's your purpose for me, and your purpose comes from your pain. So whatever you struggled the most with is the thing you want to help other people through. And so I struggled so much to believe in myself in the early days of my business and quit. Like I quit for one day on my business in worst day of my life, and I just want to make the path a little bit easier for others. How do I keep going? People ask me, how do you keep going? How do you keep making content? How have you made, I don't know, 13,000, 15,000? I don't know how many videos I've made. It's crazy how many videos we've done. I only slept 2.5 hours last night. It was a really rough night. Why get up and keep making content? Because I'm on a mission. Because this means something to me. Whether 4 people watch this video or 4 million people watch this video, I'm hoping that this video in some way is the video that moves the needle just a little bit for somebody watching. Maybe it's you. Maybe this is the video that you decide, I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna find my mission. I'm gonna stop creating 10-year goals and stop over-planning, over-preparing, and overthinking, and over-strategizing, and over-doubting myself, and just go do something. Like maybe today, this is the video, or maybe I make another video today that accomplishes that. Like that's my goal. That's why I do what I do. That's what gives me the energy to wake up when every bone in my body is saying, you know, sleep, don't do the difficult thing. And it's easy because I'm on a mission. And so what's yours? What did you struggle with the most as a human? And if you can connect to that, you can think about all the people who currently are struggling with the thing that you struggled with. You know, you're not done growing, you're not done learning, you're still improving. There's still a long ways to go. You're by no means perfect, neither am I. But you're a lot further ahead than you used to be. And there's a lot of people right now who are right now stuck where you used to be. And they don't know what to do. They don't know where to turn. They don't have anybody who believes in them. They don't have any hope. They don't have any strategies. They think they're stuck. They think they're stuck. In your story, your message, your content, you reaching out, you could make the difference for them. If you actually believe that, it's going to just change the energy with which you show up and open you up to amazing new opportunities that, again, you can't predict 10 years in advance. So it's a challenge. It's a call to action today. If you love setting your 10-year goals and it works for you, amazing, keep going. Do what works for you. But if you feel like you're judging yourself against them, if you feel like they're not working for you, if you feel like you're 6 months in and you already want to change it, the problem is not that it's a 10-year goal. The problem is that you have already outgrown what you're capable of. You've already outgrown it 6 months in, a year in. And the thing that you won't outgrow is the mission. To have a goal, have a purpose so big that you never solve it and you wake up every day trying to solve it.
It's never too late to get started. It's never too late to say yes. It's never too late to start to chase down your dreams, the thing that you got inside you. It's never too late. We create these stories for ourselves as I am too old to get started. I am too X, like fill in the blank of whatever excuse you've got for not taking action. It's just a story. You're just afraid. And the only thing you're missing is momentum. It's never too late. I remember when I started my business, I thought I was too young. You know, I was 19 years old. I was selling to people who were experts in science, and I sucked at science. And they were 2 to 3 times my age and had PhDs, and I thought I was too young. They'd never take me seriously. And that was one of the things that really held back the growth of my business, was just my limiting belief that I was too young. And I talk to people all the time, and you have people who say they're too young, and then instantly they become too old. It's like, well, when are you ever the right age? You know, you're too young to do it, then you're too old to do it. When were you actually ever the right age? When have you ever said, you know what? I'm the right age to do this thing. Right? We never do that. It's always just the fear talking. And so you have to step up. You have to step out. You have to say yes. And you have to get started. People ask me all the time, is it too late to get started on YouTube? I was at a conference I was speaking at this weekend, and is it too late, Evan? Did I miss the boat? Are you kidding me? First off, YouTube is growing like crazy. Second, the education on YouTube is still pretty low. There's so many people going, and there's still so few people who are creating good quality education. Look at whatever field you're in, it's probably even less. And third, even if YouTube does go away at some point, there's gonna be something else. People's attention is not going offline anytime soon. It's only gonna increase. If YouTube goes away, something else will come up, and your ability to speak a message to a camera is a skill set that will serve you for life. Of course it's not too late. It's just your fear talking. Your big dreams and big goals and big ambitions are possible. There's so few worlds where it actually is too late, right? And like if you're 70 years old and you want to play, you know, in the NBA, athletics is the easy one to go to, then it's too late. You know, you're not going to be a professional NBA player. Sorry. But could you be involved in the world of? Could you start a great podcast around it, a YouTube channel around it, or be an agent, or like infinite number of things in that world? Of course. And chances are most of your goals, dreams, things that you want to do are not tied to anything physical where there's going to be a significant decline, right? Like what do you want to do? What are your goals? It's people who have done it at a much older age than you. So how do we unlock it? How do we start to make that momentum actually happen in your life? Step number 1, get really clear on what you want. What do you want? What are your goals? What do you want to do? What's the voice inside your head that is telling you, I wish I could do this thing. I really want to do this thing, right? Like getting really clear, because I meet a lot of entrepreneurs, and you know that you're capable of more, and you know you want to have a bigger impact, and you know that you don't want to stay stuck here, but you don't know what the thing looks like. You know, it's not as clear of what you want to do. You just know that you're stuck and you're capable of more. Well, you definitely don't have the whole thing planned out, but what's the next step? Just getting clear on what you want the next step to be can make a big difference, because it gives you some clarity. Whether it's even the perfect, it's not going to be the perfect step. Don't worry about being the perfect step. It probably won't be the right step. It's a step. And in taking a step, you learn a lot and you make a lot of mistakes. You make a ton of mistakes and you figure things out. I remember when I first got my phone, I was recording and I did this video, and I was so proud of the video. And then I realized I captured the whole thing in slow motion mode. It's just like, the audio was terrible. You can't use it. I couldn't use it. Like, oh, it was so good. What? Come on. Slow motion mode. You're going to make mistakes at the beginning. That's okay. But what's the next step? Getting some clarity over what that next step should be is really important. Part 2 is then go get some heroes. It could be a mentor who you can actually talk to and learn from, but heroes. And when I say heroes, I mean people who've done the thing that you want to do. Whenever I feel less than, whenever I feel like I can't do it, whenever I feel not good enough, I look to people who have done it, and I realize that they have done it with less resources, less money, less time, less skills than what I have right now. Your heroes, the people who you love, look up to, respect the most, they did it. They accomplished with less than what you have right now. And if they can do it, you can do it too. And the whole point of that is a push to start taking action. It's not to say, oh, well, I suck, I can never be Oprah Winfrey or whoever. Go look at Oprah's story and see where she came from and see how poor she was and see what her upbringing was. Imagine being Oprah. Imagine having a terrible upbringing, being raped early on, having tons of violence in the family, bouncing from home to home, being so poor that she couldn't afford clothes and her grandmother would sew a dress for her out of a potato bag. Like, imagine you're going to school in a potato bag that your grandmother sewed together because you didn't have enough money to actually get real clothes. Can you imagine? How bad is your life compared to that? How bad was your upbringing compared to that? Right? To go from where she started to where she's at. What's your excuse? And again, it's not meant to be a negative, like, oh, you're right, I'm so hard on myself, I suck. No, it's more like, well, that's what's possible. As soon as you get over the story, you're telling yourself that's what's possible. If she could do it from that upbringing, why can't you? Why can't I? And anytime I feel like I can't do it, that's what I default back to. It's like, look at your heroes. Look at where they started. Look at where they came from. And chances are your heroes already started with less than what you already have right now. And so surrounding yourself with them can give you the hope and the feeling like it is possible. If you feel like you're too old for something, then surround yourself with entrepreneurs who are way older than you. Look at people who have started, and they started, I don't know how old you are. You know, people say, I'm 24 years old. Is it too late to get started? But on every age, people feel it's too late. So surround yourself with the stories of people who started when they were older. It gives you the inspiration to go, to make, to create. And then number 3 is come back to service. Think about service. Think about who you're doing this for. This is bigger than you. It's not just about you. It's about who you're going to help. Whenever it's just about you, whenever you're doing something for just selfish reasons, you'll never put in the same amount of work as if you feel like you're responsible to somebody else. This is where a lot of entrepreneurs struggle in starting their own business, because when you had a job, you had a boss, and your boss would tell you what to do. If you didn't show up to a meeting, you'd be in trouble. So you'd show up for other people, but you don't show up for yourself. We just won't show up for ourselves as much as we'll show up for other people. So the way to hack it is to feel like what you're doing is actually serving other people. And if you're in entrepreneur land, you can think about the customers you're going to serve, the people who will consume your content or buy your products or service, and the life-changing impact that you're going to have, and feel it and connect to that. If you don't have a business yet, or that's not your ambition, just think about your message to your kids. Think about the message to your family. Think about the message to the people around you. Is your message to your kids, current or future, you know what? It's too late. When you get an idea, just tell yourself that you can't do it. Is that going to be your message to your kid? Of course not. But it's your message to yourself. And the people closest to you will model much more what you do, your actions, your beliefs, more than what you say. You could tell them, believe in yourself. It's not too late. Go ahead, go do it. You can make this happen. But when they see you sitting on the sidelines, telling yourself that you're too old and you can't do it, that's the behavior they're going to model. So if you're not going to do it for yourself, if that's not enough of a oomph to get you out of the bed and actually creating your thing, then think about who you're serving today. Think about the people you're going to help. The people who, by you showing up, is going to have an impact on their lives. It's not too late to start. It's never too late to start. Your life could be so different if you woke up and started doing the thing that was in your heart. It's not going to work out at the beginning. You're going to have a lot of failures. You're going to have a lot of laughs. You're going to have a lot of struggles as you get going. But holy cow, your life can be dramatically different 1 year, 2 years, 5 years from today. If you just decided, you know what? I'm tired of staying stuck. I'm tired of coming up with excuses. I'm tired of playing small. It's time. I need this for myself. I need this for my family. I need this for the people who I'm going to serve and help. It's time. It's time. It's your time. Let's see what you can make.
I think you should have a hard time explaining what you do. Like, I think if you don't have a hard time explaining what you do, then you hate your life. Like, then you're living inside an easy to define box and you're not happy there. And not a masculine feminine thing. That's just a human thing. Like, so you should have a hard time. It's good. It's good if you have a hard time explaining what you do. It means you're expressing yourself and you're creating a unique life, right? Which is the goal for all of us. In terms of, energy, I think how I approach it is less of like a shield, and trying to fight it and hold it back and like, you can't come in, and more of a dance. And some dance partners you dance with and go a long way, and some you drop off and move on, right? And so I'm less concerned about the doing as much as, when I'm here, I don't know what we're talking about. There's no like preset list of questions like, Eric, you have to talk about this or I'm not coming on, like, I don't know what we're going to talk about. And I'm dancing with what you're throwing out. It's like, you're pitching and I'm catching and then I'm throwing the ball back to you. And this is our dance. And every dance is unique and different, and you get a chance to express yourself a little bit differently. And sometimes that dance lasts 5 minutes or it may last a lifetime. And so I just see myself that's how I navigate through it. Is if you're always kind of resistant and fighting, you're always stressed out and full of anxiety and always in protection mode. And that when you're deep in protection mode, you're not in a creative space ready to make something amazing and abundant, right? And so it's like, okay, that doesn't work for me. I'm moving on to the next dance. And so just kind of dancing through the energy. And the more you can actually feel it, the first step is awareness. It's great that you even caught it because you're feeling like stressed out and overwhelmed, but it's like, you don't know why. Okay, well, now we get a sense of why, but now you get to choose a different dance partner. And that's how I see it. And we're just dancing down the path.
The people you're surrounded by matters. Your environment right now, the people you hang out with, it's all been perfectly designed to keep you stuck, to keep you small, to keep you where you are, to keep your growth curve slow. We have these negative voices in our heads, but somebody put those voices in your head. You telling yourself that you suck and you can't do it, that's not your voice. When you're born, everything is possible. Think about it, even when you were a kid, your dreams, your goals, what you wanted to be, what you wanted to do. I remember I wanted to be a baseball player in the summer and then be a fireman or a police officer in the winter, in the off season. And think about what happens to those dreams. Now, some of them might have been we've outgrown them. Why do I want to be a police officer? Maybe because I saw a police officer on the street or something. But some of them we outgrow, but a lot of times we just also not just outgrow the idea of it, but it gets knocked out of us. That sense of hope and potential and what we can do and where we can go and what we can learn and who we can be, it gets knocked out of us by our parents, by our teachers, by the people around us, by society, by school. It gets knocked out of us. And that is not good. It sucks. Your environment has been perfectly designed to keep you stuck, to keep you safe, and to keep you small, but that is not your voice. That is not your voice. And so part of the work is finding your voice and being willing to go down the path that nobody else is going down. One of the reasons why entrepreneurship is so hard is that people feel like they're stuck. Have you felt stuck? Have you felt like you're the only one who's doing what you're doing? Do you feel like nobody understands you, nobody gets you, nobody supports you? Nobody's here to tell you what you can do in a loving way forward. Nobody is as optimistic or as hopeful or as ambitious as you. And it's not that those people don't exist, it's just not in your environment. And it's easy to stay being that big fish in a small pond. You know, it's easy to stay stuck being the person who's constantly pouring and loving and caring and giving into others. But at what point do you decide that you need more for yourself as well? Because when you can be around people who are doing bigger things that push you, that make you see things are possible in a whole new way, it just changes everything. When I got started as an entrepreneur, I had business partners, so that was really helpful. But apart from that, I isolated myself. I didn't see my friends. I had no money. I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I was alone, which made it really difficult for me to wake up every day and go do the thing that I wanted to do, and just took its toll on my self-worth and self-esteem, you know, that this isn't working. I poured so much energy and love and heart into, and it's just not working out. And one of the things that helped was getting a mentor. And over the years, I've had a bunch of mentors who've helped me with different things, and I've realized in that process that I'm not a dummy, that I'm not stupid, and that when I have somebody to guide me and help me, and when I'm around other people who are going through similar things, it helps lift me up. And you'll have moments where you'll have people who are way ahead of you, but it's not only the people who are way ahead of you. You know, just being around people who are happy. How many of the people around you are happy and optimistic and positive? Just being around people who are ambitious and going after their dream, just being around those people starts to change things. So let me share two examples. One, if we're looking at pointing up, learning from somebody who's done a lot more than us. I recently came back from Phoenix, Arizona. I was speaking at a couple events. In one of the groups, you had to pay $100,000 to be in. It's a pretty high level group, pretty impressive people. And on the last day, I had breakfast or coffee with one of the members at his home. And calling it a home is an understatement. It's like 4 homes in one home. It's a compound. And this guy had just sold his business for over $200 million. And hanging with him and seeing how he reacted to things and getting some feedback on my business, I came away not just with ideas on what to do, but just inspiration and motivation and excitement and energy. It's like, wow, this guy's just playing at a whole other level. And coming home, it's like, I'm on the airplane, I'm on fire, you know, let's get to work. Let's start building the empire. Let's start having a bigger impact and reaching even more people. But it's not every day that you can kind of go hang out with people who sold a business for $200 million, right? Like, oh, that's easy for you. You know, you met that person. What am I supposed to do? So you find peers, you find communities, you find clubs. And that's why I created Movement Makers, which is awesome. And every 2 weeks we meet and connect, and I'm helping thought leaders who are on the way up build their content, build their movement, get their message out to the world. And the biggest part of it is, I think, not being able to learn from me and hang out, but being able to be with other people who are doing something similar. That we do challenges where people are making content together and going live together. And the amount of times people have come in and have never gone live or are afraid to make their first video, and then somebody says, hey, I'll help do it with you. Let's go live together. It makes such a difference. Who's doing that for you? Who's taking your ideas and saying, hey, let's go do that together. I'll help you. And so joining some kind of community. And they don't have to be people who are way far ahead of you. You know, you may not be connecting with a $200 million entrepreneur, but just people who are on the same path, who are lifting others up, who are pouring into you, who are ambitious as well. Just being around them makes a huge difference. A guy, an entrepreneur I invested into, Alex, has been struggling with not having entrepreneur friends and connections and being the lonely entrepreneur. So I said, just go join some entrepreneur events, go to some entrepreneur meetups, and go to conferences that are happening in the city. And he just recently went to one. And I said, listen, your goal here is not to learn from the speakers. You won't be impressed by the speakers. You already know most of the content. Your goal is for the energy and connection. Your goal should be to talk to 25 people each day. There were 2 days, so go talk to 50 people. And then out of that, to be able to have a connection with a couple of people that you want to follow up with. And so, tomorrow he's going downtown to meet one of the entrepreneurs that he met at the event. That's much more powerful than learning, because he knows all the content. He consumes my content. He watches the videos. He's a learner. The point of going there is not to learn from the speakers. The point is to go and meet and connect with other people. And so join some kind of community for whatever the thing is that you're trying to do, so that you're willing to walk alone, but hopefully you don't have to. And then last but not least, I'd suggest just consuming content. It's what really helped me. It still helps me. If I'm learning from Elon Musk or Oprah Winfrey or whoever it is, feature their videos. Sometimes if I wake up and the energy's not there, I'll go for a morning walk, which always helps. And then I'll feed my mind with the video from something on my own channel. I still make the videos for me because I want them and I need them every day as a reminder to think bigger, to play a bigger game, that what I'm doing is possible, that it can happen, that others have proved it, and that I just need to believe more. It is scary and hard to run your own race. And a lot of people will doubt you along the way and tell you that it's not possible, even if it's in a loving way. It's not possible, that you can't do it. And we often then lead to doubt in ourselves. And that voice comes in and says that we can't do it. And so the answer is to start to shift the environment, to start to eliminate the people who are creating those negative thoughts around us, to start to try to get some mentors to help teach and learn, to try to join a community of people who are just as ambitious as we are, trying to accomplish great things, and to be around the content of people who inspire us to want to go off and be amazing. You can do that. Your environment's been perfectly designed to keep you where you are, but you don't have to stay stuck where you are. Where you are at the end of the life doesn't have to be where you are right now. The difference is going to be how much you're changing up the environment and the people you're hanging out with.
This is like the only thing I had going for me. Like I wasn't super smart. I wasn't charismatic. I was not getting any, real success, like 2,000 subscribers 5 years in. The only thing I had going for me is I always focused on who I was serving instead of who I wasn't.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like if I had 50 people watch the videos, like, dude, 50 people watching a video. Like, it's pretty cool, right? Like, those are 50 real people who saw that. Like, if you were going to go give a speech at a library or something and 50 people showed up, at least for me at the beginning, I'd be super nervous and excited to go off and do that. But when it's online, we feel like we're some kind of failure. And I'm ambitious and I want to grow and I want to have a huge impact. And it's great to chase numbers. But I just always focus on who I was actually helping. I think that leads to a lot more satisfaction. Doesn't mean you stay complacent and only like gratitude doesn't mean that you have to stay stuck, but it makes you feel more connected to impact. Like we all want to wake up and feel like today's going to matter, that we're going to do something today. Maybe we're going to make something that hits 1 million people, or maybe we do something that just touches one person's life, but we want to feel like today is going to matter in some way. And that's what I always if I saw 50 views on a video, it's like 50 people
it's weird
saw
to do that.
Stop trying to do this alone. If you've got a big idea inside you, you can't do this alone. You need people around you to help you, to encourage you, to support you, to cover your weaknesses, to help you actually go off and accomplish that big dream of yours. This is one of the biggest things that I think holds people back, holds entrepreneurs back, is you're probably decently good at the thing that you want to do. You've had some experience, or you've gone and learned and figured it out, and you slowly get better as you keep practicing and keep going and doing more. And maybe at some point you even did try to hire somebody. Maybe at some point you did try to bring somebody on and it didn't work out. Didn't work out. And here's where everybody makes the mistake. You retreat and go back to say, you know what? It was just a lot faster when I did it myself. Has that happened? Has that happened to you? Ever been there? You hired somebody. You thought, I'm going to do this. I'm going to hire somebody. You do it. It doesn't work out. And then you go back to say, I'm just going to do this all myself. No. No. That is not the answer. That is not the answer. That's like if you go on one date and it doesn't work out, now you're never going to go on another date again. You're never going to be married. Right? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. You're living in fear as opposed to actually trying to build the thing that you're capable of building. Here's what happens. When you first hire somebody, you don't know what you're doing, right? It's like when you first did anything, you don't know what you're doing. So why do you expect to be great at picking the right person and then treating them well and then managing them well? You don't know what you're doing. There's a guy in my movement makers who joined my Discord as well. And he was talking about how he had hired his second video editor and it didn't work out. And he had to let the person go. So he's hired 2 video editors. Both of them couldn't get his style and he had to let them go. And he's going back to editing everything himself. Now, as a short-term solution, great. Like, stuff has to get up, videos have to be edited, get them out. But don't stop searching just because you had 2 failed hires, right? Like, if you tomorrow are editing videos, awesome. But if you next year are still editing your videos, not awesome. Nope, not awesome, not anymore, right? This is how we start to raise our standards. And so the first 2 people that you hired weren't good fits. Great. Keep searching. Keep looking. Your perfect fit is out there. And as you go through some people and go through the process, you'll get better at actually finding the right person. You know, you'll get better at it. Don't judge yourself to say, well, I suck at this. I can't hire. I'm never going to find the person. It's just faster to do it myself, right? There's that old expression, you can go fast by yourself, but you go far with a team. You have to build a team. So let's talk about how to do it, okay? Let's talk about steps, practical steps, building a team, creating a culture. Someone who now has 37 people on the team. I'm not Jeff Bezos with, I don't know how many thousands of people on his team, but 37 on our team right now. How do you go from starting up to that? Step number 1 is figure out what is the most important skill that you need that has to get done in the business that you suck at, okay? And you don't want to get better at. What do you suck at that has to get done in the business? Not something that, you know, maybe it's a nice to have, but like it has to get done in the business. You suck at it. And not just you suck at it right now, you never want to get better at it. You're just not interested in it. Some people love this thing and you hate it and you never want to get better at it. What is that thing? That's the first person you need to bring on into your business. It could be part-time. It definitely should not be a full-time person. Here's why. 1, you don't know how to hire yet. 2, it's going to take you too long to be able to save up the money to hire somebody full-time. And 3, you're not used to managing people. So you want a part-time person. When I first started, I had interns. I had interns from high school who were helping me do a lot of the things that I need to get done. And it was part of their school credit. Nina is back! I did foreign language interns, so people came to Toronto as part of their education, being from a different country, learning English and getting job experience. You find people. I've had people volunteer to join. I've had people work 1 hour a day to join, right? Just like you need to start getting some people involved because it makes you feel like you're not alone doing this, which is a big deal. And it also starts building some traction, you know, starts finally getting some of the things off your plate that you wish didn't exist anymore. And suddenly now they don't because somebody else is taking care of it, right? Step number 2 is you have to start asking for help. This is a big problem for a lot of entrepreneurs. You're afraid to ask for help. At the startup phase especially, like, well, what if they steal my idea? It's one of the most common questions. Have you ever felt that? What if I tell somebody my idea and they steal it, they go with it? Well, it's possible. It's possible. Very low possibility. Most people are running their own business. The amount of people who've come to me and say, Evan, I'd love your help on this, but I need you to sign this NDA, non-disclosure agreement. It's like, I don't care about your idea. I have my own business to run. I've got my own channels, my own team, my own things to worry about. I'm not gonna, they think the top priority is you have some great idea that I'm gonna then take and run with, that's now my new business plan. No, and now you missed the chance to actually get some feedback and help. So you have to share your idea. The idea alone is not enough. It's the execution that really matters.
So it's not just the idea that you've got, it's can you be the one to go off and create it, to make it, to birth it, to turn it into reality. And speed matters. Have you ever seen anybody with your idea, right? Air quotes, your idea, go off and win while you were still sitting on the sidelines? Right? I've seen it happen so many times. I've had so many people message me about it. It's like, I had this idea 3 years ago and I didn't do it. And now here's this person off making millions off of it. Well, what's the difference? Chances are they had less heart than you, less of a drive to do good, less caring than you. So why are they winning? Well, because they started and they asked for help and you were trying to do it all by yourself. So you have to share your idea. You have to recruit people on board. You have to ask for help because those people can make the difference between you actually following through on your goals. And then step 3 is you have to mentor the people on your team. You have to care about them as humans. The next big mistake a lot of entrepreneurs make when they're hiring is, okay, this person's gonna come on, they're gonna take all the stuff off my plate so I can focus on being the CEO and then everything's gonna be great. And that's a nice theory. That kind of happens, but what you wanna think about is, this is a human working with you. This is a human who's got goals and their own ambitions and their own dreams. And your job should be to help them grow as a human, that they should be better as a person by spending time with you, by being around you, and by being in your company. Most people treat people like robots. They treat them like monkeys. Okay, get this done, get that done, perfect, gone. You made my life easier, awesome, that's what you're hired to do, go do your job. Where people make the mistake of is, one, not giving enough training at the beginning. Like, did you actually set somebody up for success? And the 2, just not caring about them enough as a human. I'm actually starting to find it harder as I grow. It was a lot easier when I had 1 to 5 people on the team, but at 37, I don't know what everybody's up to. I don't remember everybody's projects. I'm not in as much of the day-to-day of what they're doing. I find it hard to balance everybody's goals and just stay on top of their life. And I don't know what it's going to look like when we're at 50 people or 75 people or 100 people. I don't know what that process looks like. I'm figuring it out. You know what? I got to ask for help as I grow. But 2 of the things that I've done that have worked out pretty well. The first is I dedicate Mondays to team days. So I have an entire day of the week that's dedicated to team. And so I'm spending that day on Zoom calls or in person, meeting with team, asking them what's going on, helping them with their projects, and just spending time with them. And so people know that on Mondays when they save all their stuff and talk to me about it, scheduling in time for team matters. So I have different things for different days of the week. Today's a Tuesday because I'm recording, so recording is Tuesday. But yesterday was Monday, and I was spending the whole time basically on Zoom calls with team. The second thing that I'll do is a quarterly check-in with people, and we don't even talk about the business. Usually do it on a Sunday, so it's not a work day. It's a Sunday morning coffee. Every Sunday I'm spending with someone on my team. So Sunday morning, I grab my coffee, they grab whatever drink they want, and we do a session together. And we'll touch on business, we'll touch on what they're doing, but not operationally focused. Not, hey, you didn't get this thing done, or hey, how are we doing on this project? It's more like, where do you want to go with your life? What are you curious about? What are you loving about the work that you're doing here? How can I help you get to the next step? What else are you curious about? What are your other goals? Just a life conversation. And you'd be surprised at what comes out. And most people, all they really need is just somebody to listen to them and care. And sometimes action happens immediately after. Sometimes it happens, the next month or the next quarter. But when you know the hopes, the goals, the dreams, the ambitions of the people on your team, the people around you, it allows you to be a much better and much more effective leader. So we took you through this, the process of startup, zero, team, all the way to now how do you manage
your first 37 at least people in your company. But underpinning all of this is the understanding that you can't do this alone.
I feel sometimes like, okay, one piece of the puzzle is, for example, going and it's kind of slowing down and I'm feeling a little bit exhausted. So I want to like turn and pivot into something that also excites me. And it's a different kind of hobby, different interest, different excitement, right? So it's like one thing I'll be talking about, leadership development or the other. And then all of a sudden I'll be curious about fashion and want to like navigate those two polarities so that I'm constantly feeling like I'm adding value in different industries.
Well, here's the thing. I would encourage a perspective shift for you to see that those are not actual polarities.
Okay.
So inside, but this is the challenge we have. So inside of leadership and fashion, what actually connects them? Like, what's a core value that you have?
It's the expression for me.
Well, so then that's
part.
It. But so expression. Eric is all about expression. And it's how do you express yourself better and how do you allow others to express themselves better? Like if somebody said, Eric, man, I listened to your show or I watched you or I had a conversation with you and you gave me the permission to express myself fully. Yeah. That's like the greatest thing you could hear from somebody.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
to me,
the job though for you then becomes to be able to communicate expression through the work. So it's not, if somebody just looked at the content, he's talking about leadership over here, he's talking about fashion over here, it feels like it's all over the place because you haven't done the job. And I mean, I haven't seen all your content, so I'm just, putting that on. But when you can do the job to explain that it's expression, then it all makes sense. Then I'm watching Eric, not just for leadership tips, I'm watching Eric to figure out how can I express myself better in all areas of my life. There's this great interview with Jay-Z where he was talking about, somebody asked him, reporter asked him, like, how do you move from rapping to fashion to being an entrepreneur? And he's like, it's just all about, I think expression might have been, is either expression or creativity. It was his answer.
Because it is.
What stops us from chasing our obsession is the judgment that it's wrong. We feel that it's wrong to pour so much time and energy and effort into something, especially if it's not working out and paying dividends and results. It's, yes, the people around us telling us that, what are you doing? That's crazy. Stop doing it. But it's also us. It's our own voice in our own head saying, can I do this? Am I wasting my time? Is this thing even worth doing? And then what ends up happening is you regret not taking the action, right? We don't regret the things that we do. Often it's usually the things that we don't do, the actions untook, the goals that you had that you were too afraid to do something on, and that obsession that we felt was wrong. Think of this in my life. I used to judge myself a lot on this, and I would get obsessed. Like one of the things that I think now is a core strength of mine is I get obsessed on something, then it has to happen. I was at an event, and it was a YouTube event, and there was a really, really big famous guy, runs a bunch of events, pretty well known, and I was on him for, you got to start a YouTube channel, dude. You got to start a YouTube channel. And I was just on him. Fast forward to today, is about 3 years ago. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got 6 figures in subscribers. And he's on my mind because I was texting him some thumbnail ideas this morning. And I was on him. I couldn't let it go. Like, this has to happen. You need to do this. And it just felt right. And that energy and that conviction is one of the things that help move the needle. And you've got ideas and energy and great things in you and products you want to create and services you want to launch and people that you want to serve and help, and trust it and listen to it. The thing that's in your heart that is this little, it's a muscle to develop the courage to follow the obsession, because a lot of our brain takes over and tells us to be safe and be practical and do the smart thing and make sure that you're paying your bills and all of that. And yes, of course, you have to learn how to pay your bills. But where are we taught the courage muscle? Where are we taught the obsession muscle? Where are we taught to you've got this dream that is noble and worthy? Where are we taught to actually follow through on it and at least do something about it? So over the years, it's taken me a long time, and the goal with this video is to try to help it not take as long for you. Over the years, I used to judge myself for wanting something and just thinking about it constantly. And sometimes those ideas lead to long-term projects. I look at my YouTube channel. My main channel, it's been 13 years. 13,000 videos, something like that. Not all of them are public. How? Well, it's because I'm obsessed. I want to bring more value. I want to create more content. I want to impact more entrepreneurs. It's how do you stay consistent on something? Well, because I want to do it, because I'm obsessed about it, because I feel like it's going to matter. Even at the beginning, when I had 25 subscribers in my first year and 7,000 subscribers after 5 years, like, how do you keep going? Well, I was obsessed with trying to make content that I thought would help some people. And that's been a long-term obsession. There's some that are a lot shorter term. I remember I was writing my book, Your One Word, also Built to Serve. Both of my books were flowing through me. And there was every reason why I shouldn't do it. Your One Word, I finished writing the book on my cruise. I was on vacation with my wife and we were enjoying our vacation, and it was flowing through me. It was like, I need to do this. And so while she slept, I wrote my book. And while she went to a show or did something at the spa, I finished writing the book. We still did the excursions and saw the cities together, but the second part of the cruise, I was just in, it was flowing through me. I have to get this thing done. Otherwise I know I'm going to regret it. For Built to Serve, I wrote it when I was on my tour in 2019, and I did not have time to write a book. I did not have time. I mean, I was behind on everything. We're traveling every 4 days to a new city. I'm presenting. I did not have time to do this. I did not have time. And yet it was flowing through me, and like, I'm obsessed. I have to get this done. I have to get this done. And with experience and age and time, I've learned to lean in on those things instead of judge them. Where typically what happens is you come with a great idea, you think it's great, like, it has a lot of potential, and then you immediately judge it to say, well, I can't do that. I'm not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't have the skills. I don't have the money. Why am I still spending all this time on thinking about some idea that I could never do? We instantly judge it. And maybe you do a little bit of work on it. You start trying and you taste and you test and you explore a little bit. And then what happens? If you don't get immediate results, you wake up the next day or the next week or the next month and say, see, I knew you couldn't do it. You're crazy. Why would you think you could do this? And instantly we talk ourselves down from it. And what I've learned to try to do, and I'm still working on it, is to listen to that intuition and listen to that gut. And it's right, and it's noble, and great ideas flow through you, and stop judging them. And so the process I use is, one, that great ideas flow through me. So just believe the great ideas flow through you. This is how you eliminate the overthinking and your brain getting in the way. You come with a great idea, your brain gets in the way. How do you get out of that? Great ideas flow through you. Just trust a great idea. The fact that it came to you, as long as you're in a positive, optimistic energy, serving state. If you're feeling jealous or rage, or if somebody cuts you off in line, I'm in my car right now, we're parked, but if somebody cuts you off when you're upset, maybe the idea that comes to you is not a great idea. But if you're feeling positive and encouraged and optimistic and serving and want to help, and an idea comes to you, trust the great ideas flow through you. Just tell yourself, great ideas flow through me. And that at least gives me the courage to stop overthinking and start doing something. Step number 2 is just get started. Start. I call it the 2% difference. What's the first 2%? We waste our best energy on trying to plan out 100% of where this company or idea, business is going to grow. That's not the way to do it. You'll never plan it out 100%. You have no idea what's going to happen with this thing. And so instead of spending your best energy, this is the problem. You spend your best energy. Oh, it could be like this. We could do that. Oh, here's how it could work out. Your energy, where you feel confident and bold, you spend your best energy on research and planning instead of doing something. And research and planning are important, but it can't be the first step, because you're, again, wasting your best energy. You wake up the next day, you feel like, oh, I can't do this. So instead, your best energy, the first step, needs to be the first 2%. You're doing something. You're calling somebody. You're booking something. You're creating something. When I had an idea to start a podcast, I messaged my friend Mark and said, we're going to start a podcast. And he said, when? Tonight. What do you mean when? Tonight. When I'm back from my tour in a month and a half? No, we're starting it tonight. But we don't have the gear. What are we going to talk about? And we'll figure it out. We're going to drive to my Airbnb, and we're going to launch our podcast together tonight. It has to happen tonight, or it's not going to happen. Right? That becomes the process. Super important.
And step number 3 is just expect to suck at the start. Expect to suck at the start. We expect to be great for whatever reason at the beginning of when we're doing our thing, right? We expect to be great. Don't expect to be great. Expect to suck. Expect the first thing to be terrible, for it not to work out. Cheers. It's not going to work out. Not as you plan. Not at the beginning. You don't get on a bike and just ride it. You don't make a video and just crush it. Right? It doesn't mean that you suck as a person. You just don't have the skill set yet. And by practicing and trying and tasting and testing, you'll get a little bit better. And when you start something and you expect to be great and then you're not great, you quit. But when you start something and you expect it to be terrible, then anything above terrible is progress, is momentum, is a win. And celebrate that. Celebrate the fact that you took a step. Celebrate the fact that you recorded a video. Celebrate the fact that you wrote the first page in your book. Celebrate the fact that you launched your first episode of a podcast, even though you don't know what questions to talk about, what questions to ask, the formatting, all of that stuff. That doesn't matter. You started. Momentum. You celebrate the momentum and expect the results to suck at the beginning. And if you keep going, you'll learn the skill to get better at the thing. So it's okay to be obsessed. It's okay. There's a great idea inside you that you know you want to work on, that you know you need to do. Be obsessed on it. Start small. Create something right now. Apply the 2% difference. Trust that great ideas flow through you. Expect to suck at the beginning and make it, because otherwise you look back on your life at this moment and say, I could have done something back then and I wish I had.
The starting point to find your passion is to say yes more. We are in the no business. New idea comes. Oh no, I can't do that. New opportunity arises. You get invited. No, someone like me can't do this. We're constantly saying no, 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 no. You'll never find your passion by saying no. It's actually the opposite. You got to say yes. You got to say yes to opportunities. You got to say yes to ideas. You got to say yes to that thing that comes into your head that maybe you can go off and do. Yes, I'm going to try. I'm going to be willing to suck. I'm going to be willing for it not to work out, but I'm going to try, because we judge things before even trying. I like to say, how do you know what your favorite food is? Well, you know by trying. You know by tasting a whole bunch of different foods until you find the one that you love. Like, wow, that's my favorite food. Where most people, they don't try enough foods. If you think about sushi, that I use as an example, I wrote off sushi at the beginning. Like, that sounds nasty. Why you get? I mean, like, not judging, you want to eat it, awesome, but it sounds gross. It's raw fish wrapped in seaweed with some rice and fish eggs. That sounds gross, right? For someone who's not used to it, Italian, Western diet, that sounds gross. And you're going to dip it in soy sauce and hot mustard, right? But you know what? I'm just going to try it. You know what? This is really good. It tastes so good. Right now I love sushi. Sushi's got to be in my top 5 favorite foods. But we judge things, and we're doing that not just with foods, we're doing that with people, we're doing that with business ideas, we're doing that with opportunities. I look at YouTube and how long it took me, holy cow, how long it took me to get momentum because I was judging it. Not judging a platform, but judging myself, that someone like me can't do it because I'm introverted, because I'm shy, because only people with a big ego get in front of a camera, all of these things. I was just in a no business. I was saying no. I was saying no. I was saying no. I was saying no. And listen, I'm not perfect. I still say no on things that I'm trying to get better at. If you haven't found the thing that you're passionate about, that excites you, that drives you, that pushes you forward, you're not going to find it sitting on the couch, judging yourself and doing the same things that you have been doing. Right? If you do the exact same things you have been doing for the past year, your life doesn't change in the next year, right? You got to explore. You got to say yes. And that takes courage, and that takes jumping through some discomfort, and it just says the ability to say yes on things. So I was recently hanging out with Tom Bilyeu and Dave Hollis and a bunch of friends in Napa, and my biggest takeaway was I want to move faster on things. I want to move faster on new things. It's so easy to get locked into what you're currently doing. It's like, you know what? I need to move faster on things. And so I came home and I went faster on learning crypto. I went faster on learning about life insurance and investing. I went faster on creating my Discord server. I went faster on all the ideas that I had. It's like, okay, imperfect start, just build momentum and go. And now Discord has been a big part of my daily routine. I've adjusted my entire schedule to start my day in Discord. I went from spending 0 time on Discord, not understanding what it was, not understanding the graphics and what mods did and all the roles and all of the stuff, the lingo and all of the terminology, language. I didn't know any of it. To now, I spend the first chunk of my time every morning on Discord. If you want to join us, it's free. evancarmichael.biz. Come and join in. It's such a great way to start my day because I love the community, because I love connecting with people. When I go to events, my favorite thing is to hang out in the hallway and talk to people. And that's basically what Discord is. You get to hang out in the hallway and talk to people and help them and spread love. And we've so many amazing people. And the point of that is I now have this new thing in my calendar that I love and I look forward to. It's like I can't wait to go back and say hi to everybody. Even though I'm shy and introverted, it feels weird. But a month ago, I wasn't doing it at all. And it could have easily been the thing that I said no to, that I said, I'm so busy. I have YouTube and I have my other channels and I have my team and I have, right? All the stories we tell ourselves as to why we can't do it. It's being in the no business. How do you know until you try? How do you know if your great idea is great unless you try? Or if it sucks unless you try? How do you know if you're gonna love something unless you try? How do you know if you're gonna love that person unless you try? You don't know until you try. So what are some practical steps? Okay. Number 1, when you get an idea that comes into your head, trust it. I wish I could X. Oh, I've got this cool idea for me to Y. Do it. Just trust that the idea is a good idea. Trust that it's good, it's for you, it's meant for you, especially if you're in a positive environment, you're watching a video like this, or you're at an event, and you're talking to somebody and you have positive vibes. It's like, I want to go make this. Trust that that idea is good. Get out of the no business and just start building some immediate momentum. So trust that good ideas flow through you. Good ideas, great ideas, extraordinary ideas flow through you. Trust that. Trust that and do something about it. Because we don't want to wait another year and another year and another year and you're still sitting on these ideas because someone like you can't do it, right? So 1, trust that great ideas flow through you and do something about it. 2, tie it into service, right? Your purpose comes from your pain. So whatever you struggle the most with is what you want to help other people through. So tie that to service. Your passion is something that you'll love helping other people with. So it's not just about you. If your own passion, that's just a hobby, right? Something you love doing for yourself, great, that's just a hobby. But ultimately, we all want to feel important. We all want to feel, not from an egotistical point of view, it's wired into us, from a human point of view. We want to feel like we matter. We want to feel like we're going to do something today that will have an impact on other people. We are connected to each other. And so your passion will tie into your purpose. Your purpose comes from your pain. Whatever you struggle the most with is what you want to help other people through. So inside of that, helping the you from 5 years ago or 10 years ago, what do you need to do? What are some of the steps that you can sit there and help the you from 5 years ago? That will be a part of your passion. To wake up and feel like I'm doing this, that's fun, that's exciting for me. It doesn't feel like work, but it's also having an impact. It has to tie to service. It has to. If you want it to fill you up for the rest of your life, it has to tie to service. And it's not just this one, short timeline thing just to help you feel good. It has to help other people feel good as well somehow. So number 1 is trust that great ideas flow through you. 2, tie it to service. You feel like you're helping other people, it's going to make a big, big, big difference. And then number 3 is pay attention to things that make you scared. Pay attention to things that make you scared and teach yourself that you do difficult things. So a lot of times an idea might come to you or somebody might suggest something for you, and the immediate thing that comes to mind is, this is difficult, or your heart's beating. I call it the boom, boom, boom test, where your heart's going boom, 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 because you're nervous, because you're afraid of doing that thing. Often your next amazing passion is on the other side of all those things that you're afraid of. Because you're afraid that it's not going to work, you're afraid that it's going to disappoint people, you're afraid that it will work, you're afraid of failure, and you're afraid of success. You're afraid of judgment, you're afraid of rejection, you're afraid. But you don't find your passion by staying afraid. You find it by saying yes. So the things that are making you afraid, the things that make your heart go boom, 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 boom like that, trust it and try it. Expect it to suck. Expect not to get any results. expect your first shot to miss. That's okay. What's more important than if you got the result is, did you enjoy the process? Did you have fun doing it? Are you excited to go back and do it again? You've got a great gift inside you. You know you're capable of more. You know you want to serve. You know you want to help. You know that you don't want to stay stuck. That's not that your life sucks right now, but you want it to be more full. You want it to be more rich. You want to be in a different spot in 1 year from today. And that happens by tapping into the thing that you're passionate about. It's the number one rule for success. You love the work. You love the process of doing the thing that you're doing every day. And you get that by getting out of the no business. Stop telling yourself that you can't. Stop telling yourself no. Stop telling yourself that someone like you can't do it. And instead flip it to say, yes, I'm going to try.
The thing that always helped me make breakthroughs was getting a role model and learning from somebody else. And every time, whether it was my first business or getting started on YouTube, Steve, with YouTube, it was Steve, and finally listening to my agent, Steve, that I started to grow. And I did 5 years. Like, I'm in year 5 of my YouTube channel. I still have 2,000 subscribers, right? So it's like, this was not an overnight success. If people want to see my growth, I put it on the website like year over year, how much I grew, or how much I grew, which is like nothing. So I'm not naturally talented, and anytime I tried to do something by myself, it just didn't work. But whenever I sought out role models, mentors, even virtually, even listening to, watching videos, reading books, etc., I would have success. So I just wanted to try to share that more with the world. And when I meet somebody with integrity, like you, it's like, man, like, we got to get Chucks up to the world, dude. What? How is this guy not making content?
Your environment creates your energy. When you are at home and you are down and you are out and you just stay home and you never get any fresh air and you never get people around you to push you and make you feel like things are possible, then you stay stuck. And when you get outside, or when you go to an event and when you meet people, even if you're not there to learn, even if you haven't picked up anything at that event, just the fact that you got out and you met people and you changed your environment and you got some sunshine can make a world of difference. It is incredibly difficult to be an entrepreneur. It's hard. It's hard not just in that you're not seeing results at the beginning and you're trying to figure out how to make money, but it's also hard that you're by yourself. And you doubt yourself and you have insecurities and fears and you don't know if it's going to work out or not. It's really hard. And so when you're stuck doing everything on your own, and then the fears and the doubts and insecurities creep in when you're by yourself at home, that's the path down to the scary land. That's the path down to anxiety and stress and depression. And it's a big reason why we stay stuck and why we start and stop and start and stop and start and stop and can't stay consistent. Have you ever been on that entrepreneur roller coaster where you're motivated and excited and things are great one day and the next day you wake up and it's kind of not so great anymore? Has that happened to you? That happened to me a lot, that's for sure, in the early days. I quit on my business partner because I wasn't getting results and I just felt like a loser, felt like a total idiot because nothing was working out. It's the worst day of my life. It wasn't that I didn't have the heart or the ambition to do great things or didn't believe in the company. It's just, it wasn't working out. Nothing was working out. And I felt terrible about it. And a big reason why is because I was alone. I was by myself. I was alone. I didn't tell my friends. I guess I had a business partner, but I felt bad talking about it with him. And I stayed stuck. And so it took me a bunch of years to figure out these things that I'm about to share with you today about some hacks that I've used to help me maintain the momentum. So let's dive in. The first is every morning I go for a Believe Walk. And the Believe Walk is just me going outside. And sun or rain or snow here in Canada, I go for a Believe Walk. And on that walk, it's just a way to start my day. Because no matter how great a day I might have today, tomorrow I wake up and it's another day. Even today was rough. I only slept 2.5 hours or something last night. So it's a very non-typical day. Energy not where it needs to be or usually is in the morning. And so first thing, let's get up and give us a little bit of grace. It may not be as great a day as we usually do, but I'm going to go for my Believe Walk. And just getting outside, just getting some fresh air on my face, just, you know, having some sun with me, just not being in my home, already starts to lighten the mood, already starts to give me more energy. And so every day I go for a believe walk. You know, unless I am just completely incapacitated, I wake up, get some sun on my face, wherever I am, and get my belief walk and just think about what's the kind of day I want to have. You know, what's my intention for the day, and try to set that up. 2, try to go to events. And to the idea of, you know, buy tickets to things. It could be things that you don't care about, but it could also be things that you actually, you know, you're going to be around some people. And every time I go away to an event, this is why, you know, the pandemic has been hard, because you've just been sitting inside. But every time that I get to go away to some kind of event, whether I learn something there or not from the speakers or the people there, I always come back with renewed energy, with renewed excitement, with renewed ideas. Even if you just go on, I remember going on vacations, you know, you go on a vacation and you sit on the beach, and I hate the beach. You know, I hate sitting there on the beach. I'll go and sit on the beach for one day, and then all of a sudden get bored of sitting on the beach. I want to do something. And so I'm then instantly pulling out my notebook and coming up with ideas or reading books, and you come away refreshed, even though the goal wasn't necessarily business, but you get new ideas for your business when you get out of your routine. You know, the routine is great, but when you feel like you're stuck, then adding a little bit of variety to it can really help. This is the balance that we have to do as entrepreneurs. We love variety, we love new, we love trying all sorts of new things, but if we don't stay consistent on something, we'll never accomplish our goals. But if all we do is do the same thing constantly and we stay consistent on doing the same thing, we end up getting bored and hating our business, and now we just bought ourselves a job. So it's that constant balance where if you haven't had any variety for a while, you need to add more variety in. And if you haven't had consistency for a while, you need to add more consistency. This ebb and flow, that's part of being an entrepreneur that I think you need to build in. So just scheduling time. So you have your believe walks, at least I do, every morning to set me up for the day. And then scheduling time to be able to go off and just not be at home. You know, whether it's a conference or an event, a vacation, just something to refresh my mind. And then the third thing is just join a community. It was one of the biggest things that I missed, was I had no community. I was doing it all by myself, and being introverted and being shy, I don't naturally seek out community and talking to people. It's not something that is normally in my mind, and I'm nervous, you know, going up and talking to people. So it's harder for someone like me and maybe someone like you to join a community, but man, what a difference it makes. I think of Movement Makers, and this is really the program I wish I had when I was getting started. You know, Movement Makers is, yes, advice from me, and we meet every 2 weeks and talk about the movement you're trying to build and everything you're trying to create, but more than that is a connection and community to each other. That if you want to be a thought leader, you are not by yourself. Think about what you're trying to do. If I think about what I was trying to do, like I'm the only one who I know who's trying to do this. You know, who are your friends who are trying to make YouTube videos? Who else is walking through this mall making content? Right? Nobody. So who do you know who's doing what you want to do? Probably nobody. And who do you know who's doing what you want to do at a high level and who's ambitious and hungry? Probably nobody, right? Like you are probably the one who is the most kind, optimistic, ambitious person around you. And so when you start to get around other people who are like that as well, man, what a huge difference it makes. And so you can look at Mover Makers if you want to be a thought leader, but just in general, find a community. Find a community of people who are doing the thing that you are trying to do, even if they haven't done it yet, but they're ambitious and they're hungry and they're trying to do it. It could change your life. Starting a business is really hard, and you know this. If you're watching this video, you made it this far, you know it. You know it's hard. The environment that you're around is only partially supporting you. And when you can shake it up, when you can get outside and go for walks, get some sun on your face, when you can get out of your home and go to events and just be around other people who are doing things, and when you can join a community of people who are trying to do something similar to what you're doing, it can make all the difference in the world. You've got a great idea. You're doing it for the right reason. You've got a noble cause. And if you feel like you have those energy dips where one day you're on top of the world and it's all exciting, and then the next day you kind of wake up and you're in a rut. If that rut continues on, you know, for days or weeks, it's a sign not that you're on that this isn't right for you. It's just a sign that you need to add a little more variety and remind yourself of who you are.
Step number 1 is cut out negativity. Just cut out the people who don't serve you. Sometimes those are friends that you've had from kindergarten or high school or university. You're in the friendship out of convenience now. There's a lot of people who you might need to let go of. You might need to just let them go. They don't serve you anymore. You've walked your parallel path together and now they've gone out. Well, they probably just stayed here while you've gone out here. They don't serve you anymore. And it doesn't mean you have to be a mean person or cold or rude. You're just not on the same path anymore. And a lot of people fight that because you're worried about finding new friends or being around new people. And so you stick with these people who don't serve you anymore. And that's a mistake because they're keeping you where you're at. Because their negativity, their complaining, their unwillingness to change, their pessimism, their laziness, their not chasing down goals, that becomes toxic. Even if you're trying to be a beacon, even if you're trying to be the person who pulls everybody up, if all you're doing is trying to pull other people up and there's nothing pulling you up, you're gonna be limited for life. When I went to the Tony Robbins event, the second one where he invited me to come as his guest, at the end of the first day or second day, you're asked to go do a fire walk. And the whole idea is to do something scary. Well, I went home to my Airbnb at the time and I did the scary thing. I skipped the fire walk at Tony's event to go home and do the real fire walk, which was letting go of some people that I had been around for, in some cases, a decade plus, that this doesn't serve me anymore. I'm doing this just out of convenience instead of something that's actually helping me grow. And so I need to shed this skin so that I can be reborn. Like there's this new skin under you that's trying to grow, right? You're trying to become a butterfly, but you're forced to stay a caterpillar. You don't want that. So you gotta let go of the negativity. Sometimes that might be family. And with family, maybe you should cut out some of your family members from your life. Maybe that sounds drastic, but maybe you should. A less drastic version of that is just don't talk about some things. Limit access. If you know that career talk is always gonna cause problems with your family, then don't talk about your career. Say, I'm not talking about that. And stand up for yourself. At what point is this your life? This is your life. Your parents, the people around you, they love you. They want you to have success. They're from a different era. They're a different generation. They don't know what's even possible right now. What they did, if you're 21, their life at 21 was totally different. Your parents' life when they were your age was totally different. They don't understand what's available right now. And so even though their message is out of love, likely, like your parents probably love you, they just don't understand what's possible. And you can't blame them. This is your fault now. You need to accept responsibility for where you're at and limit conversations, limit exposure, cut out the negativity from your life. It's really hard for a seed to grow when it's in a toxic waste dump. And that becomes a choice. You know, a seed where it gets planted doesn't really get the choice of where it gets planted. But you get to choose. You get to change your environment. So choose powerfully and cut out the negativity from your life.
The editing almost doesn't matter. Like, why are people listening to you? Because like, if we think about quality content, people default to production quality. Like, oh, what microphone are you using there, Rory? And what's your headset? And like, what's the lighting? But nobody's watching your stuff for your microphone. So the quality isn't production quality. It's quality of thought. Can you teach me to think like you think? And so the mistake a lot of people make is if they're doing it themselves at the beginning, a lot of people do this. You spend 20 minutes making a video and then 5 hours editing it. You're training the wrong skill. You're training yourself to learn editing software as opposed to training yourself to be a better speaker, where your ultimate goal should be to be a better speaker. Spend 5 hours making a video and 20 minutes editing it, or 0 time editing it, because the ability to communicate your message in front of a camera will be a skill set you use for the rest of your life, whether YouTube exists or not. When we're beaming into your living room in VR and holograms and all that, you're still just talking to a camera. And so that ability to get your message out there is the thing to train and practice. So I wouldn't worry about editing being the most important thing. Train yourself to be a great speaker. Train yourself to press record, deliver a fire message, and then release that as a video. Because when I go live on a podcast like this, when I get up on stage, when I'm doing interviews,
there's no edits. I mean, maybe if I really mess up, Rory will do me a solid and like cut out that piece. But you get on stage, there's no edits. Like you can't train as if you're a speaker, you can't train yourself to only communicate when you're perfectly edited.
Yeah.
So we have to train ourselves to be great. It doesn't mean that you completely disrespect the editing, but my goal would be to, hey, let's get your business up to the point where the content is helping you generate enough money, whether it's through your coaching or your books or your programs, so that then you can afford to hire an editor to take it to the next level. But the editing will not save you. It's quality of thought more than production quality.
Your environment is keeping you where you are. Your environment has been perfectly designed to keep you exactly where you are right now. The people you listen to, the media that you consume, the habits that you do daily, all of them are designed to keep you exactly where you are. So if you want to raise your game, if you want to raise your life, you need to raise your environment. I've changed a lot over the course of having this YouTube channel. The people who've known me the best and the longest, especially in the past 2 to 3 years, have said, Evan, you've changed a lot. For the better, you've evolved, you're more confident, you have more poise, you're a better speaker, you're pushing the boundaries more, you've changed. What happened? How do I get that for myself, right? People want it. Whenever you are off growing and learning and evolving, other people, they want it. They want a taste of it. They want to do it too, because we are not designed to just photocopy our lives over and over and over again. So how did I get it? I paid more attention to my environment. I paid more attention to my daily routines. I paid more attention to the people that I hang around with. It's important. So looking at my physical environment, right? Look at this office. Look at the people behind me. This all means something to me. Looking at the new design that I've had here below. Putting things like my neck braces. It's down below, you can't really see it. But this inspires me. I walk into this every day. My YouTube videos, the channel, I create for myself. The people that I profile, I'm learning from. I feel like I have Gary Vee in my head. I have Oprah Winfrey in my ear. I've got Elon Musk telling me what to do, pushing me to try to get better. I hear these people talking about you have to be courageous, you have to be bold, you have to believe in yourself more. And when I feel myself being nervous about something, boom, 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 it's a push that I have to do it. And so I've designed my life, I've designed my environment to help push me to get to the next step. And it's scary, and it should be. Where am I going next? I don't know. I'm still a work in progress. But the more that you are around people who push you, who make you better, who make you want to do more, who pull you up to their level, guess what? The more you're going to get there. The alternative is you're stuck where you are. You stick with your friends, you stick with the media you consume, you stick with the habits that you have. And listen, if you love your life, awesome. If you're good, then you're good. Then don't change anything. But if you're not happy with where you're at, if you know you're capable of more, especially for the entrepreneurs, you know you're capable of more. You know you have a gift. You know you're a genius. You know what's in here needs to get out there, can have a huge impact and help a lot of people. If you feel like that's you, then you need to make a drastic change to your environment. You need to change it, because everything you're doing right now is keeping you on the path that you're on. Maybe there's been some growth. If you look at who you were 5 years ago compared to now, you've grown. If you're watching this channel, you've grown, right? You've made some changes, but is it drastic enough? Like, are you proud of where you're at? Look at where you've come from in the past year, 2 years, 5 years. Are you proud of where you're at? And are you comfortable with that same level of growth for the next 5 years? If not, if you think, I want more, I want to help faster, I want to have a bigger impact faster, quicker, then the fastest way to do it is to change your environment.
Because you made it this far in a video, I want to celebrate you. Most people start and don't finish. Most people never actually follow through. Most people say they want something, but they don't ever do the work to actually get it. But you are different. You are special. Believe Nation, you made it here all the way to the end, and I love you. So as a special celebration, if you put a hashtag believe down in the comments below on this video, I will showcase you and celebrate you somewhere on the screen in a future video, because you are awesome. For 10 more amazing rules from Tom Bilyeu, check the video right there next to me. I think you'll love it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
And the reason is, when you start the day, if you get early momentum going, the rest of the day is often going to follow in that. It's an idea called entropy. Everything moves towards chaos. And the only way to combat that